Welcome back to the Shadow Archives, a fan-led show dedicated to the world of Sara Samuel's Blade of Shadows. With me today are your hosts for this episode, Patrick from North Carolina, Lisa from Northern Virginia, Sam from England, and I am Matt from Ohio. On today's episode, we are going to be taking a little bit of a breather from the reread, and instead, we're going to be revisiting the entirety of Timeborne, how it's changed, how we have changed, why we're still obsessed with it, and also maybe how it has altered our view of the entire series. So enjoy the ride. The archives are officially reopened. I would like to open our discussion with just a couple basic questions. The first being, including this reread, how many times have y'all read Timeborne now?
3, I think.
3, 6, and 4?
Yeah.
Sam saying 4?
Yeah.
Wow, 4. This was my third. This was my third. And how many times have you guys read Timeborne immediately after reading Rise of the Shadow Lords now?
Immediately
One time.
after, just one time.
And that was
One
this
time.
for me. That was this read round because
Yeah.
I think all three of us have read them in sequential order. So our last book would have been Rise of the Shadow Lords. But obviously this reread we're doing it different. But this is the first time I've read it. It has changed my view on the book a little bit from reading this as the first book to now reading this as the second book.
Did your rating of the book change after this reread?
It did, but not for the reason why I think you might think. It changed this time because this is the third version of the book I've read. So I had the first version when it came out. What was it, 2021? Then a couple of, I want to say maybe last year or probably the year before. I think it might have been the year before. She did a redraft of the book and sent it out for the ARC readers to read it again before she put the second version out. And then I think this is the third version of Timeborne that I've read, because it's completely different from the first, but it's also very, very different from the second. But yeah, my rating went up a little bit this time because it's not written different, as in like the base of the story is still there, but it is way more descriptive, this version, than the first one.
I would have to agree because I don't think it really changed my rating. Because I was hooked pretty much right away because I love time travel. This one was just completely different from any other time travel I've ever read. And it had all the elements. It had history in it. It had some great, you could really tell that she really did her homework. But going from the very first edition to this edition, and then me reading it as slowly as I did, because I just powered through every single book. Because it was just one that I couldn't put down. But the way we broke it up for this, like I sent, really, I sent that to Sara.
Powering through it, isn't it, Patrick? It's powering through it. Still have, you have time to color code and tab it.
Oh, well, I did on this one. Usually I'm powering through the book, but this one I really slowed down, and it is so much better. It actually flowed better. Like I didn't have to
I
actually put
agree.
it together than the first edition.
I think that's the big thing for me as well, is that because the first version and the second version, because I was on a bit of a time strain of like reading it before for like a certain deadline, I sort of just blasted through it as quick as I could, and not I don't necessarily struggle like doing that, but it does take me a minute to get into a zone to do that. Whereas this time, because we obviously broke it down into chunks, there was a lot more little bits that you pick up on that you're like, oh, okay. But also because we read Rise first, there's a lot of bits in this book that now make a bit more sense than sort of like waiting to work out who like the people are, or the things that happen. Oh, yeah.
And that's one thing I think I talked with Sara about how her mapping for this entire series is just
Stupid.
phenomenal. For her to be
Insane.
able to write Shadow Lords so much later, but yet it is so relevant to even to this book. It's just kind of I'm just amazed at how she could actually do all that. So
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't she start writing this in high school or mapping it out in high school?
yes,
With shades
kind
of
of
gray. I think she had the idea for it in high school and she was tinkering it with it in her mind. I think the idea she had in high school is not what we were reading,
Yeah.
but it's like the impetus for what we're reading. It's yeah.
I think she started writing it in college. Actually putting it down into a manuscript and stuff like that. While she was working at the gas station.
Yeah.
So
Lisa, did you change your rating at all after reading it this time?
I already thought it was 5 stars the first time around, so now it's just 5 plus. I mean, it's just amazing. Just I didn't know it could get more amazing, but it did.
Yeah, the version 1 was the first that I read out of nowhere by itself. And admittedly, I was day drinking beers on vacation when I read it. So I rated it a 2.75. And then I read version 2, and that was 3.75. It was like worlds better. But now that I've read the entire series and I'm reading this version after the entire context, this is 4.5, right there with the rest of the series. It's amazing how complex it is.
yes.
It is
Yeah.
stunning. And I think what you said, Patrick, I think the problem that I always had with it when I read it the first 2 times is you just get 6 months went by, a year went by.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like there was like this jarring pacing problem. But now that we broke it up the way that we did and we had some time to digest things and talk about it, none of that pacing really matters to me anymore. And you kind of, it makes more sense and it flows better, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Agree.
Really, really good. Also, it's amazing how sexy it is and also how icky it is at the same time. That is something I don't think I appreciated on previous reads.
Oh, for sure.
What do you mean
Sarah's
icky?
good at that.
When Marcellia sticks his dirty finger in her mouth
yeah.
is so icky.
But
And
I
when
don't know whether Patrick can confirm this or not. Was that in the first version?
yes,
I don't remember it being in the
I didn't-
first.
I'd have to
I
go
don't
back and look
remember
at
I
that
completely
particular
glossed
one.
over the fact that
but-
he just shoved his dirty finger in her mouth.
I remember it every time. Ew.
So it was in the first
I'm
edition?
relatively certain it was. Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'll have to get it.
And then just the sex they have underneath the Colosseum after she gets free from Marsilius is also pretty icky. Like, it's sexy, but it's also kind of like, okay, you said you soiled yourself on that table for like a couple of days. I understand that you got some water to splash on yourself, but like,
See, this is what I was saying in the
really
last episode. Like, is that going to be your first port of call? Are you going to see the man that you've madly fallen in love with and thought, I'm sure the smell of piss is going to be fine. I'm sure he'll be.
It's a pogo stick that I want to ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'd be
maybe
more
even if
invested in
it's
like
not
trying to
Olivia,
out.
like, Roman has been chained up, sitting in his own sweat and stank under the Colosseum for the same amount of time. And so they're just going to, like, it's sexy and it's icky, which is kind of true to life if you really think about it. And then just on their way to Scotland, I felt like the descriptions of what it was like under in the belly of the ship and whatever was also kind of disgusting, with the vomit and the
definitely,
and the no showers and whatnot. Like, that's kind of gross and it's icky.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, Sara keeps it real.
Yeah, it's icky in a good way. I'm not trying to say that like, ew, don't read it. It's like, no, it's icky, realistic icky.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't romanticize, even though it is partly a romance. She doesn't romanticize that, everybody's clean all the time, or, what they go through, and they experience what they experience. And it's very vivid and very detailed and very accurate.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yes, it's in the very first version.
Yeah, it is.
I must have glossed over that because I didn't realize it until.
I was gonna say I must have glossed over it too. So, but yeah, they slid his dirty finger in my mouth, and I wanted to gag at his taste.
And I think there's the word slowly in there. He slowly slid his dirty finger into my mouth. And I don't know why the slowly makes it worse to me. Like,
that does make it worse.
Well, because
you're getting every millimeter of grime or something. Whoa.
Yeah, because it lingers.
Oh no. Oh, not the word lingers. It lingers. Oh, that's accurate.
Now I've got the cranberry song head. When you first read the book, how quick into the book did it take you to get hooked? Because I was probably a good halfway through, like, the actual read. I was listening, so I managed to get into the book from an audio narrator for the first version of the audio book being recorded, and so she would break it down into, like, 3 chapters that she was recording that night on TikTok, or and so it was a lot longer to listen to the stuff before obviously the book came out. And then the book came out, and yeah, but it was probably the point where Amara had gone to go and deliver the baby that I was like, oh, okay, so this is a little bit more interesting than I first thought. And then, yeah, by the time I got to the second read, I was like, probably 3 months after I read it the first time, I read it again.
Well,
yeah, pretty quick, pretty in the middle when reading it, that I was like, oh, actually, I think I'm gonna keep going.
When I read a book, when I first read a book, I read the first chapter and then I decide, like, what do I think about this book? And I decide there whether it's going to be really good or whether it's going to be, I don't necessarily DNF it if it's not caught my eye, but with Sara's books, I'm always hooked up to the first chapter. Like, I'm like, okay, bring it on, bring it on.
I think for me it is literally after the first page. You know, it was just like it just
Oh, yeah.
started right off the bat, and I love books like that because there's you can get the build up later, you know, the world building and all that other stuff, but to have a book just start from the very first paragraph, for me, that's like an automatic, oh, okay, well, if it's going to start like this, let's see where it goes. So yeah, it had me from
And
the
it
very
goes. It
from the very
goes.
first page for sure. There's a couple other books that start almost the exact same way. In fact, one's a sci-fi series from another independent author that I talked to, and it's, you know, the heroine punched a guy in the nose. Like that's the first sentence. You're like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on.
I can remember my first reading of this book so clearly because I was in South Carolina. It was like, you know, open, right? And the first chapter was so cool. I was like, oh, this shit's gonna happen here. But then you start reading the second chapter and it's almost like, oh, this could have been the first chapter of a book. You know what I mean? Like from an editorial perspective, the second chapter could be chapter one, and then you could get like through memories of internal monologuing or whatever, what happened to her mom, that kind of a thing. So I remember having the distinct feeling like, oh, I'm starting over. But it was the throne room battle, chapter, what is that, 6? I was like, oh, yeah, I'm reading the crap out of this. And then the thing that hooked me to do the rest of the series was the cliffhanger ending. It took me all the way to the cliffhanger ending to go, oh yeah, I'm reading the next book 1000%.
So that leads up to my question. Where does this cliffhanger rank with the other cliffhangers that Sara seems to end us on?
Oh man, I don't know.
So this one, they all disappear. They all disappear time travel.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cliffhanger of Darkness of Time? I'm forgetting that one right now.
It's when Roman gets taken. Isn't it when Roman gets time traveled into somewhere because they get separated? We don't know that until the beginning of 3, but it's
Yeah.
Isn't it to do with Balthazar?
Okay, yeah.
And he separates them because then the beginning of 3 we find out about Marcellus is with Balthazar and Roman's with Jack, and then so they all sort of get divided but not divided because isn't it in the middle of isn't there a fight or a war happening and they're in the middle of the field and Roman gets hurt and then they all get divided.
Balthazar doesn't take Roman. Malik does, right?
Does.
Or was it Walter?
Yeah, Malik's one that takes him. Yeah, because
okay, so
they're fighting
the cliffhanger
Indians.
is Olivia is still in the 1800s. Like, oh, where the F is my husband?
See, that would probably be a bigger cliffhanger for me.
Okay,
that they got separated.
Book 3 is Alina and Moonlee walk down the tunnel.
I see. I think that's number 1 for me.
That I felt personally attacked by the author at the end of book 3.
Yeah.
What's the cliffhanger of book 5 of Time Hunters? They're in the 21st century.
Time Hunters is
Moonlee had just been offed, and they had his funeral, and
but Olivia Jack gets taken, and Olivia figures out who she is.
Right.
She starts to get her memory back.
And then Wicked Lovers and Sweet Venom don't really have cliffhangers.
No, because they were just kind of.
Okay, so let's rank. And Rise of the Shadow Lords is also not. There's no real cliffhanger.
Not a real cliffhanger.
There is, but there isn't.
I think the books that have cliffhangers, I think the magnitude of cliffhanger kind of builds with each book. That's my cat's tail. She's right in my lap. Sorry.
Well, I thought you were getting ready to say what you said was like, that's your cat's meow.
I thought you were being like a Victorian lady with a fan.
Yeah.
No, this is her tail. She keeps swishing it in my face because she wants my attention. So
I think the Moonly Annalena cliffhanger is my top tier,
That's
god
number
tier
one.
for me.
Yeah,
I think
that was a kick
one,
in the nards.
and then I think this is the second one, and then I think book 2 is the third. Only because I feel that this would be second because they all disappear and nobody has a fucking clue where they've gone. Whereas the end of the next one, everybody else is sort of still around, and it's sort of like, well, it's only one person that's gone or two people that have gone. Like, why? Where have they gone? And considering they're not together.
I think the separation of Roman and Olivia is the second one for me because, I don't want them to be apart.
Really, how else are you going to steal Roman if they're not apart?
I know, but I just didn't like it.
The inner Amara.
I meant you personally, Lisa. How are you personally going to steal Roman if he's with Olivia?
Well, you know what? As much as I would like to, I love them together. So I would stand back and say, Olivia, he's all yours.
Sam, I think I'm gonna answer your question like this. Timebound, Timeborne, Time Hunters, Darkness.
I think that's probably, I would switch over the Darkness, your last two. I would just flip those two around because I think definitely the first one, or we'll say Timeborne, hooked me because I got book 1 and book 2 together. So I think I literally closed the book and was like, okay, open the second book and just started reading right away. Like I was like, oh, I got to figure out what happened. But with the end of Time Hunters, I think I was reading, I was reading in our reading nook and our little library that we have. And I think I was like audibly like, what? And I put the book down and I looks like, and Manny's like, what? I'm like, you just like, hold on a second. I got to reread this for a second. Hold on. So I sat back down and like reread it. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Just the reaction that I had for that itself was just like, I think that was definitely number one. It still ranks. I mean, it's close, but the fact that I had the second book right away and I had to wait to find out what happened. Like, where did Alina come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I definitely ranks up there with the rest of them, but I also agree with what Lisa said that I think each one kind of builds a little bit.
I would agree with that. I think they build. I think my ranking was based upon my personal reaction, but from a purely literature, like objective writing standpoint, I do think that they build. I think each one has higher stakes and becomes a bigger moment, but that doesn't necessarily mean it like kicks me in the gut as hard.
Right. I can see that. But
Yeah.
Sara definitely evokes strong emotions in her readers.
One might say that she's a little evil.
Very.
Yeah. Evil genius.
I don't know. Her cliffhangers are good because the story is complete. Every one of her cliffhangers is a lead in to the next story. It's not like there's an unresolved thread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. You get some satisfaction.
And at the same time, if you just think of them as TV shows or movies or whatever, it's just like black screen roll credits. You're just like, oh,
Next
just sitting in your seat,
episode.
freaking
Next
out.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the way that when you look at it from a cinematic, standpoint with the way those cliffhangers are, that's exactly it. It happens and then black screen and the credits roll for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to get that evil little to be continued BS. Watch and find out. Your friend, Sara Samuels, XOXO.
Yeah. So not much of a question, but I think Sara needs to put together within the Shadowverse that she's starting to create, or she could create a Shadowverse. She needs to put together a Roman and Olivia workout log. So we can try
Like
so
a
we can try to
regime.
become.
What do
Yeah,
you
one
mean by
thing I-
workout? What do you mean by workout?
Well, I mean, we'll say never mind. I'm
Training?
not even gonna go there.
like how many, like, are we talking Kegel exercises? Like what kind of training are we talking about here?
I mean,
Oh, see, I'm
she
going like the whole like
with it being the
stuff.
shadows, we could go anywhere.
Yeah, like would Roman, oh, my mind is so dirty and messed up right now. Like I'm just thinking about this workout and like, what would you name the exercises? Like missionary push-ups? Like what do we, or, missionary planks? I don't know. Like,
Prison
Prison
Kegels.
squats.
yes.
Prison squats. Yeah,
Perineum
good.
Kegels.
Thinking about these workouts, I've always wondered, they're so martial arts heavy, and I've always wanted to know, and I don't know why I've never asked Sara this. Maybe you have, Patrick, but like I've always wanted to know what Sara, that the author's personal experience with martial arts training has been.
Nope, I've never asked her that. I haven't really thought about that, but that is true. It is very martial arts heavy. And I'm not too sure if the Sioux tribe was. That would be an interesting question because I mean, she used the Sioux tribe, and that's where Moon Lee did most of the training for both Marcellus and Olivia. So, would they be more of a jujitsu, grappling, that type of thing, or more of the Asian inspired actual kung fu / karate type? Because it almost seems
And
like
you also gotta kind of wonder, when did Moon Lee start time traveling? And did he, like, when he was 12, 15 years old or whatever, did he time travel and meet Lazarus or find a mentor in a different time? And how does that affect his fighting style? And then how does that affect the Sioux? How does that affect Roman and Marcellus?
so. We're going to get a little bit more into Lee's background in the next book, because that was one of the questions that I had, especially with Sara, because I was like, where did Moon Lee come from? Like, I mean, there's got to be more than one. Is he the only? How did he get there? Did he come from Solaris? I mean, there's just so many questions surrounding Moon Lee, and she basically was just like, "Don't worry, you'll get it later. To be continued. XOXO."
So XO Gossip Girl. I mean, Sara Samuels.
Yeah. So I know that we will get more about Moon Lee's background and where he came from and how he got involved, because I know that that Lazarus uses him extensively, that we
Yes.
don't get to see in all of the books, but when she closes everything together, it'll be like, oh my God, Moon Lee's been around forever.
Long time. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I would love to see happen is, how we get book 4, which is basically Alina's diary, of the
Yep.
events that unfolded throughout her lifespan. I would love for there to be a Moonlee one of like a diary entry, sort of almost like, you know, that this woman's turned pregnant with 2 babies and they're both going to be born Timeborns and blah 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 blah. And then, like, you know, this random nut job woman turns up and demands me help her be an Alina. I think it would be pretty cool to have like a diary version of like
I agree.
where
I agree.
where he is in the timeline throughout the books in the background.
Yeah, I still think that whole point where Marcellus was talking about Moonlee and his mother and Moonlee and I actually went into Sweet Venom of a Time to look specifically at the time that Elizabeth was with Moonlee to see how they kind of mirrored up. Because I didn't really see in Marcellus's version, you know, he talked real bad about her when she refused him, but I think it was more of a hurt thing that I got in Sweet Venom because he knew that it was Amar and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like he did fall in love with her, but he knew that he couldn't do anything with her. So
Yeah.
that part I didn't quite see. So that I talked up to the fact that Marcellus was just mad in general.
Angry
So,
on them.
yeah. So I think that's where, I mean, I definitely did more research. I think I'm so glad I've got this on Kindle. Matt, you and I have talked, because there's no way I could research this, the cross, across all the different, books as easily if it wasn't, for the digital side. Because I can just like, oh, hold on, let me just type this in. Oh, there it is.
That control F is super handy.
Yes, very much so. So, it would be interesting to get a Moonlee side book. Because is he always a bridesmaid? Was there somebody that he was attached to at some point in time? Or was he just always the third wheel, the sidekick, the bridesmaid, the one
right.
just not really the pawn? I guess he'd be more important, more like a bishop, I guess you could say on Lazarus's chessboard.
Chessboard, yeah.
I wondered if you guys would still keep Rise at the beginning, or whether you would move it whether it would still stay as one in the series, or would you move it to somewhere else now we've read Timeborne?
I think Timeborne should be first, period, exclamation point. And I think that the hook, like what Matt was talking about for production, is, the cliffhanger and the whole fact that it's about time travel and just the vast possibilities that can lend itself to in the big world out there that they can explore. And I mean, I just was like, where are they going? What's going to happen? It hooks you just with that premise.
What do you think, Matt?
I am an enormous fan of reading Timeborne, already knowing the bigger picture. I think that makes Timeborne the book and Timeborne the story that much more interesting. But I don't think Rise of the Shadow Lords gives you that. I think Rise of the Shadow Lords gives you a taste of it, right? I think it is, once you know who Isabel and Armand are, I think that's the one that does it. When you know about Solaris and the big picture, reading this and knowing that Amara has this big plan of being matchmaker, right? That Lazarus has put everybody into ancient Rome to meet. I think that makes Timeborne the book worlds better for me, more interesting, more depth that I can pick apart and find Easter eggs, and I love that. Now, having said that, would I read Rise before Timeborne, or would I read Timeborne first? Forget what I would do. What would I recommend to other people? I think that the Blade of Shadows story is about Olivia and Roman, and I think after rereading Rise and Timeborne, I would probably recommend starting with Timeborne.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Where would you then put Rise?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I think putting it 7th is too late.
Right.
I think,
but I don't
it
think
was-
it should be second. I don't think it
If
should be
it-
second.
I would have
What?
put it before. Yeah, I would have put it before 4. I would have put it before Alina's book.
I would put it before Timebound.
Oh, really?
So Timebound, they go back to Italy, right? And they meet Matthias.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes.
And I think if you read Rise of the Shadow Lords before you meet Matthias, and you meet Matthias like that, I think you would have red herrings all over the place. Is Matthias Salvatore? Is Matthias Lazarus?
True. That's true.
And I think that would be super interesting. Because if you take Wicked Lovers out of the equation, you just read Timebound and then Time Hunters one after the other, then you start getting Lazarus in the cave. Right?
True.
So I think that would be, I would put it after Darkness and before Timebound. I think that could be interesting. I think it could be interesting.
I think that would probably be better than actually having a either before Wicked Lovers, because Wicked Lovers, Lazarus just shows up sporadically. You know, so it'd still be more like, who's this? And if that was before, if Rise was before Time Hunters and before Wicked Lovers, I think that would be I could see it. I could see it there.
When's the first time that either Lazarus or Salvatore turn up? Is it 3 or is it 5? Sorry, is it 3 or is it 4? I know they turn up randomly in Wicked Lovers, like you said, and that's why when I read it the way I read it, it was just these random old dudes turning up.
Right, yeah, and that's what I thought too. Is like, oh, who is this random
that's
old
why
dude?
I was like, oh, these guys are bigger players. These guys have got something more invested in it, because they're not Balthazar. They're not, they're doing it for a different reason than what Balthazar's doing it for and stuff. But I can't remember if they're not in 3, are they? When they first
I
turn up.
know for a fact that we see Lazarus and Salvatore and Wicked Lovers of Time. They're just the scholar and I don't remember what she calls the other one, but they're the old men that are in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that we see Lazarus and Amara in Time Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Lazarus and Salvatore in Sweet Venom of Time. So I think
I would put it before Wicked Lovers.
The thing I think I'm going to be really interested in, though, is while we read these books, do we see them anywhere else? And maybe we just never noticed them.
I mean, because obviously in this book, Gaius is
Lazarus.
But we don't know that until later on, do we?
No, you don't know that until I mean, unless you've read Rise of the Shadow Lords, and then you're an extremely astute person that can go, oh, this is the same Amara. Gaius must therefore be Lazarus. You'd have to be pretty astute, I think, to put.
That's why it confused me, because I'm pretty sure when we were reading this, I was like, oh, did she get remarried? Reading it the way we're doing now. Oh, no, sorry. When I read Rise of the Shadow Lords, I was like, oh, so she was married before. or not married, but she was with somebody before, and then reading Timeborne this time around, I was like, oh, wait, who? What? It that bit sort of confused me because obviously she's younger in Rise, but she's older in
You know what would be
Timeborne.
interesting? So you're saying put it before book 4, and I understand your logic. Makes complete sense, right? Book 4 is the first time we're going to get Lazarus and Salvatore, but we don't get them by name. So, like, if you give us Rise of the Shadow Lords and then Wicked Lovers of Time, it gives you the introduction to these characters, and you'll be like, oh, these old dudes in Seattle must be Lazarus and Salvatore. That makes a lot of sense. My hesitation with it is that means now that readers have 2 books they have to read in a row in between Olivia and Roman novels. And I remember being super upset that I even had to read 1 the first time.
True.
Interesting.
That's a good point.
Your logic makes complete sense, Sam. It makes 1000% sense, and I'm not trying to say it doesn't. I'm way too emotionally invested. I need to get back to some Olivia and Roman as soon as humanly possible.
But for like law's sake and stuff, I feel that you've got the start of the story with Olivia and Roman and all of this stuff, and then the end of book 3 is when Moonlee and Alina come back, and Roman's still in the 21st century, or has he come? He hasn't come back yet, has he?
Well, you know what might be really interesting if we're talking about lore, right? So in Darkness of Time, we meet John James. And if you read Rise of the Shadow Lords carefully, Lazarus is introduced as like Commander James or whatever when he's in the army. So you do get that connection. So it could be, for lore's sake, very interesting to read Darkness of Time, then get Rise of the Shadow Lords and begin connecting some dots that John James and Lazarus are related. And if Olivia's last name is James, that could be an interesting lore connection.
But then also,
and
the end of book
who's the
2
mysterious
is when...
man? Who's the mysterious man that takes Roman away? And then you read Rise of the Shadow Lords, and it's just like red herrings. Was it Lazarus? Was it Salvatore?
Yeah.
We know it's Malik, but oof. How many times are we going to have to read this so that we can read it
in sequential order?
Timeborne, Darkness, Rise. And then next time we read it Timeborne, Darkness, Timebound, Rise. So we know which one's better.
Wow.
I don't know. I just think for me,
the Shadowverse for sure.
Yeah. I just think
Steve and I are going to be sitting outside of Niagara Falls just reading Blade of Shadows as fast as we can. That's what's going to happen.
I'm going to be reading it in the car on the way down. My friend will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Shh, I'm reading." I had a question for you, Patrick. Obviously you've got the original. I've listened to the original. I've read the original, and I want to know. Lisa, did you read the original as well, or did you read a different version?
I'm not sure.
I just wondered because obviously,
when you say original, is
so
actually
like the
Patrick?
first...
Are we talking about that cover?
So the cover that I have, I actually purchased after I read the first edition, because I found it.
Is that the same edition? It's just a different cover.
Yes.
Okay,
it's
so that's still just
the first edition. It was just an updated cover.
Okay, Sam, I understand where your question's going now. Please continue.
Yeah, I was just wondering because obviously we all had the first edition of the book, and obviously this time around, Sara was very kind to give us like the most abridged version of the story and stuff. And obviously, we've highlighted there's certain points and stuff throughout the book that have changed or has changed, or it's not changed the story at all, but it's obviously added more depth to the story.
Sure.
I just want what your opinion was on the changes in the book, not specifically like each change as it was, but the changes as a whole.
I think overall, like you said, definitely gave it more depth. Gave it more feeling. It made, I tell you, all the stuff that she added from Roman's perspective made him more of a robust
Three-dimensional.
character. Than, because Roman was Roman, but he was just one of those characters that just kind of kept going on for me. But with all the additions to understanding who Roman, like it helped me understand a little bit more about Roman with some of this, with how deep it was, or how much more his insight was, I guess you could say. So I think it definitely gave all of the stuff that she made for this latest version, this latest edition, really just rounded out the characters better, and gave them more depth, for sure.
I think
Mhm.
I think for me it also changed my perspective on their relationship a bit more. That it wasn't just not like Stockholm syndrome, but you know what I mean? Like she didn't just fall in love with him because he was the only person that she was sort of like around, but that because there was a lot more depth to him, and it, like you said, it made him a bit more of a dimensional or physical character. He's not just this random Roman dude. That it actually made a bit more sense for their relationship and how their relationship was built in the books. And she didn't really change much of a perspective from Olivia's point of view. Like obviously descriptions and stuff were changed and that, but like I thought it made Roman a bit more relatable. Like you said, that
Yeah,
it made him
it
a bit
definitely made
more
him a more robust
understanding.
character.
Yeah. I thought the additional POVs. I remember, so I read when I read version 1, and then I read version 2. I had still not read any of the other books, so it was like reading Timeborne again without any context. And just the slow burn romance part of it, I remember it being loads better because you got more about Roman and their relationship made more sense because of the extra POVs and whatnot. I remember loving that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other
Yeah.
question I had was, we noted that probably the first couple of pages of Timeborne had changed dramatically from the whole point
Yes.
of her doing this story, doing her homework, to having this whole preconception of like the shadow following her, and her running into the shop and being like, there's some bad dude out there and stuff. Like, did that change your opinion on the book at all?
I don't think it changed my opinion, but I think it definitely
Enhanced.
enhanced it, because it brought the shadows, for lack of a better explanation, it actually brought the shadows forward a little bit, instead of them being so later in the book or like so much in the background. It was like straight up, here we go.
Yeah.
There's something going on. So I think it actually made it much better. Because
I
when I did
agree.
read the first edition, oh, she's got her backpack, it's got homework in it, blah 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 blah. But it definitely enhanced the way I read the first page. So
I agree.
100% agreed. No notes.
what is Amara's special power? I mean, she's a healer. Is she a time healer? Is she like Elizabeth? Because Elizabeth was an alchemist. She's not a time hunter because her dad was a Shadow Lord, but yet Elizabeth and her mom starts with an R. I can't remember her name, but they were best friends with Olivia Isabel. There we go. Isabel, rescued Elizabeth's mom from Salvatore. So who is Amara? What is it about her that makes her such a great healer? If that makes sense. Is that a good question, I guess?
I think it is a good question. I think it's empathy. I think she's really empathetic to how people feel in a situation, and that she tries to guide them, not necessarily in the way they want to go, but in the way they probably need to go. You know what I mean? Like she's telling Olivia, you need to sort your shit out because he's just trying to help you. And like, she was doing it with Salvatore in the first book. Being like, we understand your pain, but like there are sort of ways around it. Whether you listen to it or not is completely up to you, but like this is what I think you should probably do. And I think she does it through, it's not just a physical healing, she's also trying to do the emotional and the mental healing.
Yeah, she does all the healing.
So I kind of have a follow-on question to that.
Hold on. I've been reading.
Matt,
I guess I thought that Severin had something to do with Amara. Because it's in the prologue where he sees those kids for the first time. And I thought I remembered him like setting their path. And so I was just sort of rereading quickly. And I want to know what you guys think of this. Quote, "So I gave them small mercies, bread slipped into a palm, a lip stitched closed, the hiding of a single need, only to leave the right hollows behind, tenderness never offered, a hand that should have steadied them and did not. One would ache for what should have been his. The other would learn to scrap and take what the world withheld." And here we go. "Amara would learn to mend wounds, and necessity would carve the compassion from her until it became lean and efficient. Hardness grown from duty, the sort that could be steered. Different wounds, different hungers, same results, easy to bend, easy to break." Okay, that's end quote. I don't know why I internalized that as Severin doing something to them. But now that I'm reading it out loud, I don't think Severin did freaking anything to give her skills.
So does that mean that Sara has something bigger to reveal about Amara?
Oh, I'm sure.
I think so. But I can't think of what it is.
And that's just it. She has really hidden Amara well. I mean, she's put it right out in front of us, but there's something about Amara that I just can't figure it out. Where's Tam?
Can Amara belong to any of the houses of Solaris? Can she? Given that she died and was not resurrected. She died before Solaris was created, and she was resurrected afterwards. Can she belong to any of the houses of Solaris?
Probably not.
Unless she is Solaris, you know what I mean?
I will say this. I had a conversation with Sara, and Matt, if you want to edit this out, later. But I called her Thursday, I think it was, and I asked about Marcellus specifically and Amara specifically because their names didn't change, like Isabel and Olivia. Amara's name did not change. She told me what she would share with me is the fact that she has kept her so far in the dark, and just kept us enough to give us, but nothing deeper outside the fact that she's a fantastic healer and she's been reincarnated twice. So,
but that kind of does stick with. She's the mum of Jack and John.
Yep.
And
which then
Theodora.
means that
And Theodora.
she's the
Yeah.
grandma of Olivia, who's the prophecy.
She's the daughter of a Shadow Lord, which probably in all likelihood means that she could
Has
be
darkness
groomed
within
to
her.
become a mistress of shadows. I don't think she will. But it's in her blood, right?
But my question would be, would it be in her blood though? Was her father a Shadow Lord before she was born or after she was born? Because if it was after she was born, then technically the shadows wouldn't have affected her. If it was before she was born, then she'd have shadow in her.
It's after. Oh, I'm sorry. She was born after he was a Shadow Lord.
So she wouldn't. But then the lineage down, so John and Jack would have shadow in them, which means Olivia's got it in her because both of her parents are shadow. So in theory, out of everybody, she's the only pure one.
No,
She's not a
I think. Wait, are we talking about Amara as being pure?
Yeah.
No, I think Gareth. Based on what I know, Gareth ascended to be a Shadow Lord, and then he had oh shit! What did the author? What did I learn from the author? I can't remember.
It'd be interesting to know if Gareth was ascended before she was born or after, because that would mean that she would be the only pure one.
I think that's a very interesting point. We've got to figure that out.
Because for her to be reincarnated, she doesn't have to be born of shadows. She just has to be done in like a ritual stand. No, that there's certain steps that the mother has to do in order for the person to be reincarnated to the person that they wanted before. But it doesn't mean that they're born a shadow, which makes me think that could Amara be the one thing that could heal everything? Because out of the whole group of everybody, she is the only one that's not touched by shadow. If her dad was a Shadow Lord after she was born.
The only thing that Rise of the Shadow Lords tells us is that Amara remembers those coils, meaning like the black under the skin. That she used to trace them when she was little, and they would curl under his skin like spilled ink that never dried. She thought they were beautiful, and he would never tell me what they were. He'd just smile, close his eyes, and let me run my fingers across them like they were harmless. So that means to me that she's extremely, extremely young. And so if she's like, say, 4 years old, how likely is it that he ascended after she was born, but before she has memories of his black veins? Which makes me think that he ascended before she was born.
That makes sense. What did Sara say, Patrick?
She hasn't read it yet.
Oh.
It's Sunday. This is her family day, so I know I don't, when I text her on Sundays, I know I don't expect anything back. So
I'd be phoning her and being like, "Excuse me, I know it's your family day, but please, 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 this conversation right now."
well, I just told her
Fam-
that this particular episode is deep.
Deep.
Let's do a lighthearted question.
Yes.
All right. If you had to pick any scene from Timeborne, just Timeborne, that you want to see visualized in a TV show or a movie, what is that scene and why?
Well, I mean, you know where I'm going.
I do not. Enlighten me, dear.
Oh, come on. You know me. It's got to be.
We want to hear it. We want to hear every detail.
I want to see a love scene between Roman and Olivia. For sure.
Are they frolicking?
They're not frolicking. They're.
Wait, okay. So are you talking about a spicy love scene or are you talking about like an emotional one?
Both. Why? It's both. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, of course.
but they are red hot. Even when they're emotional, they're red hot.
I would want to see the throne room.
Yeah.
Bad.
I think that would be the one that I would want to see for sure.
Why?
I think because you know, Olivia's a fish out of water, and going from being this 21st century girl to just being like absolutely thinking you're on acid and how the fuck you've managed to get to ancient Rome, I'd be tripping balls. But the fact that she's there and everybody's like, "Oh, this girl, she's not gonna do anything. Like, she's innocent. Da, 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 da. You know, she's not that dangerous." And for the Emperor to, and everyone else is like, "Nah, we've seen it. We've seen some stuff. Like, we know she's badass." And he's like, "Nah, nah, nah." And then it starts, and it's just the whole, "Come on, that." You know, I said before, I see when I read that the scene from, I think it's Kill Bill 2 when they're in the dojo, and she's like rolling around and chopping people's legs off and stuff. But it is the whole thing of like going from being innocent to absolutely killing, mauling, you know, absolutely showing up Marcellia and choking him out stuff and you know, putting everybody to shame. I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
And I picture her showing up in a white sundress in medieval
with
Rome.
Flowers on it.
With flowers on it.
Yeah.
I have that.
And then she shows up in her own loincloth. The modern day loincloth. Or stola. But yeah, I think just seeing what, as an image of what we would consider a 20th century female who is athletic in a sundress in ancient Rome, completely kicking ass with men 5 times as big as she is, 5 times bigger than she is.
Yeah, the juxtaposition.
Just the image of her just standing there trying to be all pretty, and then all of a sudden unleashing all hell would that's why I would want to see it, because it would just
also knowing that she's got like the Glock and stuff strapped to her and she doesn't need to use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that she's got this weapon that's absolutely attached to her as she's doing all of this, and it's like, no, I'm not going to use it. Like, I could, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, that would be a good scene.
That would be a very, very good scene. I'll tell you that I really how do I phrase this? Because I don't want to make it too big. I really want to see the end of the Emperor's birthday party section. So, if I could get the entire birthday party up until it, that would be awesome. But I want to at least see it's going to be the first time that they admit their feelings for each other and passionately kiss. And then it's going to be the first time that we see and fight a darkness right afterwards. And I think that that chunk would be super cool. We just get everything.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I also think like the last chapter or the last two chapters of the book as well, where everything's suddenly starting to fall into place, and Marcellus is absolutely losing his mind. Like, he savagely unravels himself, going from being like pretty normal to just like losing his mind. Would be quite cool to see this.
I would definitely love to see the main event and then the cliffhanger. That would be an
Yeah.
epic scene to see. Hell yeah.
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 Roll the credits.
XOXO.
Gossip Girl. I mean, Sara Samuels.
I don't think I'm ever going to be able to read the end of the books now without thinking XOXO Gossip Girl.
You're welcome. Can we rank the spicy scenes
For this book or for the entire series?
for this book?
Whoa. Let's just
Dang,
do this
girl,
book.
We're
that's
just
too much.
talking about this book right now.
So we've got
We need Tam for the whole book, for the whole series.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So we've got the, obviously Scotland is the first time they, get busy.
Frolic.
And then we have, oh goodness, is that it? Is it just Scotland and then the Hypogeum under the Colosseum? Do we really only have 2 spicy scenes? Is that it?
No,
I thought we had 3.
There's the boat. No?
No, they don't do anything on
I
the boat.
want to see Scotland. I want to see Scotland.
We all want to see Scotland. Patrick's not saying anything, but he wants to see Scotland too.
Yeah.
like not Pornhub Scotland, but like HBO. Yeah.
HBO After Dark.
Like
Yeah.
Let's at least get close,
Oh, really? Are those the only 2 spicy scenes? I thought there was a third one. Oof. This is not a fun ranking question if there's only 2.
I thought no, maybe it wasn't the boat.
No, I think they get cock blocked.
They get close.
Yeah, I think they get close a few times.
Yeah. But we don't want to see the dirty. We don't want to see the one where they're dirty.
I mean, we kind of do.
I mean, we read it. We might as well see it.
Yeah.
No, I know, but if I had the choice, I'd want Scotland.
Yeah,
the
that's
10th.
a bad. Man, that was a bad question. I thought there was going to be 3. If there's only 2, Scotland wins. That's
hands down.
That's the ranking. That's the ranking. Actually, if I could, I will go out on a limb and I will say that Scotland scene might be the best spicy scene that has ever been written because of the amount of passion and whatever that is in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My sister-in-law disagreed with me because it's not the most graphic or whatever, but like I'm not, I guess when it comes to carnal relations, I'm not a graphic person. I'm a connection type person. That's what I get out of stuff.
I don't think well, actually, other than Wicked Lovers, I don't think any of the spicy scenes in the rest of the series are dirty, if that's the right turn of phrase. They're not.
Yeah.
I don't think they're dirty, and I don't think that they're dirty. Might not be the right word.
Graphic.
All of the other ones are passionate. There's always a drive behind the situation. Wicked Lovers is a bit more just.
It's a romance. It's a romance. It's not a smut.
Yeah.
Not
novel.
it's not like dark and twisty like some other book series. Like
Oh yeah.
there is method in the madness. It's not like somebody's baking a cake and it's like, oh yeah, let's go. It's like not that you have to have a reason, but there's reasons behind why the emotion's there. You know what I mean? Like, isn't it the first
it's well
time?
placed and appropriate.
Yeah, like I think it must have been like the first ever episode we recorded. We were talking about the spice and how, you know, in some books it's like, oh, I'm just going to go to the shops, and then they're shagging in the aisle down by the ice cream. This is a bit more normal. Like it falls where it needs to be, not like it's forced.
No, yeah, it's a love story. I mean, it's beautiful.
And the fact that we've got a book that's got two scenes in it, not every chapter, every other chapter.
Okay. Favorite character in Timeborne?
When I first read the book, really wasn't a fan of Olivia. I don't know, just something about her. It really wound me up that she just didn't see everybody's best intentions and that she was just being a brat for like a good 3/4 of the book until they were going to Scotland, and then she suddenly went, okay, fine. This time around I got a bit more into liking her a bit more, but yeah, I couldn't be putting up with her. In the first time I read it, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, backhander.
I would say Olivia, but also that she got on my nerves. But I think it was appropriate that she was acting that way because, I mean, hello, you just get thrown back in time. I mean, you're going to have some like regression in your
I totally get
emotional
it.
intelligence. And then, but I love Roman. Like he's such a stand-up guy and protective of her from the beginning.
Yeah.
I really liked Amara. I think she was probably my favorite in this one because having read Rise in the Shadows before, it makes me now think that she has more to do behind the scenes and know that her storyline is going the way it's going, knowing that she's got like a relation to Olivia and stuff. It's a bit more it's a bit more to her than just being this older lady reading it the first time around.
It's hard to actually pick out a favorite because there's really only technically 3 characters, four characters in the book, for the majority of it. But I really Moon Lee has always intrigued me. And there's just always been something about trying to figure out who he is or what he is, how he plays a part. Because he set her up perfectly. So obviously he's very involved. But how the depth of his involvement, how much of it was placed, how much of it was orchestrated is still something I'm waiting to find out. So I think for me personally, it's a shame he was only in the first 2 or 3 chapters. But I think still my favorite characters is Moon Lee in this book.
Favorite is such an interesting word because it's like because it's Olivia, Roman, and Amara for like the vast majority of the book. You have those three characters. Obviously Marsilius, but Marsilius is a dick, so he's not ever going to be favorite. Which one of those three characters do I gravitate towards the most and just like kind of love? Amara is the standout for me.
Uh-huh.
But if I think of the word favorite as in who am I most interested in? Who intrigues me the most? It has always been her dad, Jack. Just like, why, bro? Why now?
Yeah.
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 I still think there's more to Jack, but we don't know what. And
Oh, for sure.
his part in this.
The final book is going to just have everybody. I mean, like all will be revealed.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Oh yeah.
I got way too much of the beans spilled already. It's going to be good.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a major aha moment.
Plural. I think.
Oh shit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for all the characters.
Yep.
If you won't put this in there, get ready for the next book because it's just as good.
Mm-hmm.
The next series, or however you want to say it, the next archive section.
Yeah.
In our next episode, we are switching gears and fast forwarding some 1600 years as Olivia, Roman, and Marsilius find themselves separated and lost in the wilderness of America as the War of 1812 rages. But for now, the archives are closed. Thank you all for listening to our way too deep conversation about why we are still obsessed. We will see you next week.